In section 5.3, we're just adding and subtracting decimal numbers. That's it. And the big thing that you need to remember is this. Always line up decimal points. Always line up decimal points when adding or subtracting. And the reason we do this is the same reason that we need to get common denominators whenever we're adding. Okay? You line things up appropriately. Because if you don't, then you just come across as, and it just looks crazy and silly. For example, if I have this. And this is typically what I would do to you on a test or an exam or any kind of assessment, is I'll write it out horizontally like this. And I'll say, okay, you just need to add these guys. So you need to make sure that when you arrange these numbers that you are arranging them by the decimal point. So you're going to rewrite this and say, all right, this is 1.35 and then plus 2.78. Make sure that you are lining things up correctly. So where your decimal point is right here, that's where it's going to be in your answer. When you add, you are combining like terms. So you're adding up hundredths. You're going to add up how many total tenths you have, how many total ones, and so on as you go along the place value. So how many hundredths do you have? I'll give this one to you for free. Remember, the first one's always free. So it's 13, and then I carry the 1, and then what do I have? 11, carry the 1 again, and I get 4. So we get 4.13. Now, before we go on, do a quick estimation, quick rounding to check what's going on. 1.35, we might round that to about what? If these were dollar amounts, that's about $1. This is about $3. 1 and 3 is about what? 4. That lets me know that my answer is fairly reasonable. Do you agree? Now, adding decimals should be easy, but number one, you have to know how to add things like 5 plus 8 without doing tick marks or using your fingers. 2, you have to make sure that your handwriting is not so sloppy and janky that you can't line things up correctly. And that might be where you need to get some kind of graph paper, or if you don't want to write on graph paper because you don't like the way it looks, then you can take a piece of lined paper, which I never have on me because I don't use lined paper, and you can slide it underneath the piece of paper, turn it horizontally, or turn it 90 degrees so that the lines are going vertically, and that can help you keep your columns lined up. Maybe I'll show you in another video how to do that if I had lined paper. But you know me, I like to, really? Oh, hold on. We're going to pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Knowledge Radio Network. All right, now, I got one piece of paper. Watch the magic. I'll pay you back. That's going to be kind of, no, she's not going to receive any monetary, no, it's not going to be like that. So, if we're doing the problem, well, see, I don't know, maybe my handwriting is not the greatest, but I'm going to slide this piece of paper underneath. So I'm not sure how well you can see that, but there are some lines that help you keep things a little more organized. Or what you can do is this. Take the lines and just take a pen, take a pencil, and just darken these guys in, and always keep this handy. I mean, you don't need to make one every time you do this. So now if I have this and I need to do a problem where things need to be lined up, it's a lot easier for me to see my lines. So let's do another example. Let's see if this will show up well enough underneath so we can do this. So you remember whenever your teachers said neatness counts? And then you had some crazy wallet-eyed guy say, no, man, it's okay to go outside the lines. It's okay. Just be a free spirit. They were right when they said neatness counts. Don't listen to the crazy wallet-haired guy. He's probably eating mushrooms. They're not the safe kind of mushrooms, you know. Not the cooking mushrooms, but the... Never mind. I've heard stories. You know I'm legit, right? Some people even say I'm too legit to quit. Hey. Now, let's see if I can get these guys lined up very nicely underneath here. So you see the lines? I can use these lines to help line up everything. Now remember, the decimal points have to line up exactly because you have to add like terms. That's what you're doing. So I have 4.702. Now, my numbers look a little bit more spaced out because I'm trying to get them to fit in each column. I'm trying to be nice and neat about this. And my other number is 17.96. So here's my decimal. You just put the rest of the numbers here. So this is 17.96. If you do this, you can't screw it up. I mean, you may try to find ways to do that, but it's not that bad. These guys are both positive, so I'm just going to combine these guys. Now, here's an issue that we have to watch out for. If I come over here and you see that, well, there's nothing to add, there's no other thousandth spot here. When a decimal stops here, like the 0.96, what's understood is that this guy keeps going out as zeros the rest of the way. You have 0 thousandths, 0 ten thousandths, and so on. So you can put a 0 here and it doesn't change the number. In fact, if you were to type 17.960 into most calculators and hit enter, it chops off that 0 because it's not important to the calculator when it does any other calculation. So here, I'm just adding these guys, so what do I have? Oh, I made it too easy. Still too easy. See, the first two were free this time. Then what? 16, carry the 1. 12, carry the 1 again. Now, is my answer 22,662? That makes no sense. You added something that was, if I rounded this, it's about what? This is about 5. 17.96 is about what? If this were dollars, $17.96 is about 18. What's 5 and 18? 23. So my answer needs to be around 23, right? If it's not, then I've done something wrong. But we said you just bring down that decimal. You line the decimal up. So you're adding thousandths, hundredths, tenths, ones, and your tens together. That's all you're doing. What do you guys think about that? This is still like you're adding fractions. You're adding like terms, like denominators. You add the like place values. All right, so let's do another one. Suppose we have 2.392 minus 1.845. Let's go ahead and move my little guidelines down here to help me line things up. So when I look at this, don't think of this as just a subtraction problem. Think about all of the stuff that we've done so far this semester. This is a positive number, and this guy is a negative number that we're trying to combine together. Looking at this, is my answer going to end up being positive or negative? Why will it be positive? The positive number has the larger absolute value, so I'm going to keep that sign. So I just need to subtract these guys. So that means I have 2.392 minus 1.845. Please be careful when you do subtraction. This can be easy, but you can also lose your way if you try to do things in an unconventional way. Remember, you can't do 2 minus 5 without coming up with negatives, and when we're just trying to subtract numbers, you don't want to have that, and that's where you have to borrow, so they say. Do it in the right order. You can't do 2 minus 5, so you change the 9 to an 8 because you borrow a 10 from that, which makes this guy 12. Do you all agree? All right, then you can do 12 minus 5, and this is all considered regrouping. Just like we did with mixed numbers, we had to regroup a couple of times. 12 minus 5 is 7, 8 minus 4 is 4, 3 minus 8, uh-oh. So I borrow from this guy to make this one 13. He gets bumped up by 10. So then 13 minus 8 is 5. 1 minus 1 is 0. Okay. I can write the 0. It doesn't really matter here. Where's your decimal? It's between the 0 and the 5, right? If I don't have the 0, doesn't that still have the same meaning? And a lot of times when we write decimals, we may not write the leading 0 here. A lot of times it is useful because it draws attention to the decimal. We don't want that guy to get forgotten. Any questions about that problem? Now let's see what happens whenever we make things just a little bit more exciting.